Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, good evening, people. How are we? It's the last day of the week, and what a week it's been, eh? Since last Sunday, the controversy that's gone on, the shit slinging that's gone left, right, and centre, and Carl Liebold on me case now. He's giving me shit. It's just all happening out there, guys. And, like, to tell you the truth, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap, all right? We're here to run a news show. We're here to tell you all the facts about what's going on. We don't care whose side they're on as long as they're truthful facts. And as I said, you know, still a lot in the back pocket that we're not even wanting to expose, because that's not what we want to do, guys. What we want to do is group Australia up to get going. But, you know, that's looking a little bit difficult. The 13th coming up has, seen a bit out there, but I think it needs to be banged a little bit more by you people that are going. If you're turning up to it, you know, do a TikTok, do something, and be involved, guys. All right, there's going to be plenty of these get-togethers coming up. All right, I can assure you. All right, Albo's been talking to Trump today about, you know, running some more and giving us the Harbour Bridge, and, you know, backing off a little bit, and, you know, maybe pulling up, you know, other people and letting us Aussies go a bit. I think that's what Albo's phone call would have been about, wouldn't it? You know, something like that. Who knows? Okay. So we got the police are trying to stop this Harbour Bridge march. I don't know how they're going to do that when there's a precedent already set, guys. So, again, who knows? Let's watch and see. Ryan Park, a person I love very much, had to go up to Sydney today to Prince of Wales, I think it was. Had to take a client up there, a disability client, and to park at the hospital. It costs $30 for a disability parking, guys, for a few hours. 35. Unreal. So, Ryan Park, why are our disabled being made pay for parking at a friggin' public hospital? I do not understand, man. I really don't understand. I mean, these people are doing it tough already. They're on the least amount of money. They're on disability. Why? Because they've got a fucking issue. and you want to charge them 30, 35 bucks for a few hours parking to go and see a doctor at Prince of Wales. Mate, I tell you, you're off your head. You are definitely off your head. Now, I just want to mention the Nazis, and I want to mention a couple of things. You won't believe this guy's name's going to come out of my mouth, but listen, guys, we're all going forward, all right? Adelaide, the NSN didn't get a look in. Why? Because Johnny Q and a few of the others stopped them. Simple. Brisbane, they didn't get a look in. Why? Because Scotty and that stopped them. So I'm just wondering why they weren't stopped anywhere else. Anyway, that's just my thought, you know. We're like, Scotty and that are out there saying they didn't get a look in and they will never get a look in. Well, your main nationally all guys are, wanted them in there from what we can work out. Anyway, that's where we are, guys. That's I got a few things up here. Yeah, let's just have a quick look, actually, while Caz is coming in. We got wildfires in Spain and Portugal made 40 times more likely by climate change. Bullshit. Nothing to do with climate change. It's to do with the deep state, and we know it. Told the Prime Minister he needed a bullet in the head. A bullet on online posts has been convicted and fined $2,500. So, they're coming. You shouldn't be putting that stuff out in messages or whatever anyway, guys. Just shouldn't be happening, but not the Aussie way. An Aussie worker sacked after boss spotted him in a restaurant on his sick day, enjoyed a payout. He got $33,000, guys. It was his auntie had died. His mum died a few months before. And, it was in Wollongong here, actually, and they were at the Lagoon restaurant just over here. And the guy went in there to have a meal with some people that they were, they were all a bit sad and down. So they went to a nice restaurant over there, the Lagoon, and his boss turned up. And he tried to shake his hand. His boss didn't want to know about it. Well, yeah, it cost him $33,000, or the worker got $33,000. So don't let them treat you like shit, guys. All right. Now this, I know you're sitting there probably, Caz. I can't see you, but this I thought was funny, guys. Calls for light pollution legislation in Australia, and you know what the problem is, right? I'll say that again. Calls for light pollution legislation in Australia, and that is because the lights of the night time are hurting the sky. Can you believe it? Like, this is just like a comedy hour, mate.
Look, let's get on to some news, okay? It's just crazy out there. Look, Wayne's been over in Canberra. Let's see what he's been up to.
One more. I saw the White Rabbit, and I hope she's done the research, but apparently this driving ban for 60-year-olds, bloke, is going to be enforced next month. Now, I don't know, but she's put it out there, and a few other people have been talking about it. So is this really coming in? Was it 60 or 64? 60. I'm 4 years out. I'm not going to stop driving.
Yeah. Look, a free country. We want to live in a free country again. Make Australia free again. All right, let's have a look at Wade.
It's a bit of a quick report on what we found when we were at Canberra. There was a huge amount of stuff, far too much to talk about in one small grab. But one of the big issues that we saw turn up in the Senate, of course, was pushback on Australia's National Flag Day. So we saw in the Senate Senator Jacinta Namatjira Price came into the Senate with an Australian flag draped around her shoulders. And that started a whole heap of trouble, a whole heap of drama. So they ended up cracking it and basically telling her that she couldn't wear an Australian flag. And one of the other senators there who was kicking up a stink, he said, well, if she'll be able to come into the Australian Parliament, the Australian Senate, wearing an Australian flag, he should be able to come in draped in a Palestinian flag. So, what the hell? Hell no. You take your Palestinian flag and take it back to where it come from. Don't bother thinking you're going to bring that stuff into the Australian Senate, mate. That's just not on at all. So, I wanted to also talk about our slimy, maggoty politician, Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who was down in Ballarat last weekend at the Bush Summit. And in Parliament, just in the last couple of days, we saw him referring to many of the farmers down there and talking about that with also tying in Ann Webster, who's the federal member for Mallee. Now, she was down there as well as Bridget McKenzie, who's also a Victorian senator for the Nationals. And Albanese, in his filthy maggoty way, as the Labor Party lefties do, he tried to tie our Australian farmers up to, would you believe it, neo-Nazis. He came within
doesn't surprise me.
A bull's roar of actually saying neo-Nazis and Australian farmers. So he was pulled up by David Littleproud, who jumped up and down and carried on a bit. And I think Albanese pulled out just at the last second before he went down that minefield. So we also talked about Labor's health policy, and I'm trying to get on to a West Australian Senator, Jordan Steelejohn, because we hear the Labor Party and the Greens constantly going on about the NDIS and about people's health and all the rest of it that they're doing. But, you know, I want to start to talk to these politicians about the real health policy, the extension of the NDIS, and in particular what that means for people who have handicaps and older people. So we're going to start questioning these politicians about what that is, our tie-up with the World Health Organization and the international health regulations and the One Health policy, which basically is a policy of euthanasia. This is where this is going. This is the end game. We've seen Canada already has incredibly savage euthanasia policies where, if you look at the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, their idea is to get rid of people. It's not about providing any kind of care. It's about a policy of euthanasia, which is, this is where it's going. This is what we're trying to expose now. We're going to push these politicians so hard you wouldn't believe it. I must say that we're having a lot of trouble getting to some of these politicians through their offices because they keep saying, oh yes, well, call the office. So the one thing that they're not liking, and one of the big bonuses about Billboard Battalion actually being here in Canberra at Parliament House while Parliament is sitting, is that these politicians tell us this crap, their officers tell us this crap, and then of course we bump into them. And so getting a little bit more, pushing them harder when we do bump into them, and they're not liking it.
We'll leave it there. Full clips available up on the website.
Yeah, well done, Wade. Keep at 'em, mate. Yep.
That's it. Like, you just got to keep. We just keep at them, don't we? Look, Mick Malthouse, he was attacked.
Thursday morning wake up Mick Malthouse never imagined.
As I got to the door where the stairwell is, I could hear some noises and someone trying to break in. So I barged it open.
But the AFL legend, who's built a reputation on being tough, had grabbed an exercise bar to defend himself.
52 years ago, I got a piece of equipment to help me football. It's sat next to my bed for the last, since I got sacked. So I was able to negate that, and we had a little bit of a shoving match with three.
Anyway, but David Limbrick's jumped on it and he wants to bring Castle.
Okay.
Residents more power to legally fight back against intruders. David Limbrick, welcome back to Drive.
Thanks for having me.
What do you think of what Mick did?
Well, I think it would have been a very scary situation, and he did what many homeowners would do when they're trying to defend themselves and their families. I'm very happy to hear that he wasn't seriously hurt, but I think that one thing that people don't realise is, and I've spoken to lots of victims of home invasions, is that very often they feel unsafe in their homes after this has happened, and many of them end up moving.
I guess so. It was, Mick obviously probably without even too much thought. I mean, he was hit with a screwdriver and he wrestled a crowbar out of their hands. Not everyone would have the wherewithal or the gumption or the strength. I'm not quite sure what the thing is to name to do that.
Well, he's obviously reasonable force, but the problem is what is reasonable in that situation, and what we pointed to when we were looking at the potential review of these laws is the UK laws, and in the UK they have this Castle Doctrine, which effectively says that it sides on the homeowner with the state of mind that they had at the time, right? So, you know, if they make some decision at that point in time, then they can.
Anyway, I'll cut it. It's a bit
Yeah,
long.
well, I'll
but
tell you what they're doing in the UK now, David, is they've told them to, you know, there was a person beheaded and a 3-year-old kid raped. All right. And the police commissioner gets up and says the best thing you can do is comply with them. That's it. Comply with them. Do what they ask. Go and get. Anyway, coming to Australia, coming to a town near you guys, because we're all under the same freaking drum. All right, they're bringing it on.
That's it. Look, let's bring on the convoy, because that's on this weekend.
And the Freedom Unites Coast and Country Parade details are as follows. On Saturday, the 6th of September at 7 a.m, the Albury event leaves Apco, Lavington, travelling to Colcan, Henty, The Rock, Uranquinty, Wagga and Gundagai, stopping at Yass for lunch between 11 and 1. Then continuing to Murrumbateman, Braidwood, Bungendore, Bateman's Bay and camping at the Ingenia Holiday Park, Tomakin. Also on Saturday the 6th, the Moreton Bay event starts at 10 a.m, leaving the Bee Gees statues at Redcliffe at 10 a.m, parade to Diagula Pub for lunch at 12 p.m, then to Kilcoy Anzac Park at 2 p.m. Also on the 6th, Mackay will have the Community Day at the Blue Water Quay at 11 a.m. Speakers include Jodie Lowe and the Corruption Whistleblowers. At 2 p.m, a parade convoy will travel from Mackay to Serena, and at 4 p.m. to the Blue Tree Campgrounds. On Sunday, the Central Coast event will be held on Sunday the 7th of September, starting at 9 a.m. Forest of the Fallen, Addock Park, flyer handout, leaving at 9:45, convoy to Woy Woy, short stop, then leave at 10:30 a.m, drive to Yamina, Edelong, Benville, Kincumber, Terrigal, and then up to the Long Jetty, the entrance and back to Adcock Park via Wyoming around 1 p.m. There will be a game of cricket, a laughter or two, and then an open mic. On Sunday the 7th of September, the Wollongong event will start at 8 a.m. Leaving Helensburgh, the parade will go through Thirroul, Bulli, Port Kembla, Shell Harbour, Dapto and finish at Stewart Park, Wollongong. There is a barbecue from 1 a.m. and guest speakers. The Port Macquarie event will start at 10 a.m. on Sunday the 7th, leaving the Big Donut Servo at 10 a.m. and parade to Kew Visitor Centre, the Big Axe, via the highway. Then back to port along the coast road, picking up signatures and cars at Laurieton, North Haven, Bonny Hills and Lake Cathy. Stopping at Port Mac, Old Food for less car park to hand out flyers and get covenant signatures. Help us if you can. Fish and chips on the town green after. And on the 12th of October, the Emerald will host the family and community breakfast and brunch at the Woolshed Area Agro. Entry is by gold coin donation and it starts at 8 a.m.
Be there for the Wollongong one, guys. I was talking to one of the lads who were down here today, actually, from the stand in the park, and yeah, they're keen to get down there. So we're going to be meeting them up in Shell Harbour. So yeah, just get into it, guys. Get into it.
Well, Two Worlds Collide. Here's had this to say about Albo.
Government wants to slap new restrictions on freedom of information. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, freedom of information is your right as an Australian to demand answers from the government. You can request documents, stats, modelling, and they practically have to hand it over. It's one of the last safeguards to keep politicians honest. I know, politicians and honest, not normally used in the same sentence, right? But who's leading this? And to be honest, I'm very surprised. Attorney General Michelle Rowland. Her job is to be Australia's chief legal officer. officer. She's literally supposed to safeguard the law, protect your rights, and keep the government accountable. But instead, she's the one fronting this bill that does the complete opposite. Now, for everyone at home, here's what this is in plain English. You'll now have to pay a fee just to lodge a Freedom of Information request. And of course, Albo and his crew wants money. This government is broke. Anything to funnel more money into a bankrupt system. You'll lose the right to now file anonymously. So they now know who you are, where you are, nothing sus about that. And now government departments will have more excuses to say no. Translation, well, if it compromises them, they're going to refuse it. So they're making it more expensive, more intimidating, and much easier to bury the truth. Alright, now let's make this real for everybody. Your power bills are through the roof because of this net zero and green energy push. With these changes, will they still have to release a modelling that says it's cheaper? Or what about immigration? Will they still have to provide the full stats? Or just hide it in red tape? Or the under 16 social media ban? Who controls the data? Who has access? Will they have to tell us or not anymore? And if they bring in misinformation, disinformation laws, will they have to provide the evidence for what they say is true or false? Or will they just declare it and shut everyone down who doesn't agree with them? Because once the government stops releasing documents, once they stop letting you see how decisions are made, that's when transparency dies. And history has shown us when transparency dies, corruption thrives. That's not a democracy, that's how authoritarian systems run. In China, for example, what the party says goes. No questions, no evidence, just control. And it comes down to this. It's about a government that no longer thinks they have to answer to you. That's the real issue here. These changes go beyond price tags. This government is heading down a path where it feels like they don't have our best interest at heart. It feels like they definitely don't speak for Australians anymore. And it feels like they've forgotten the sole purpose that they're actually there for. To serve the people. Because once you start paying for documents, stripping autonomy, and once you start hiding behind cabinet secrecy, you don't have accountability anymore. You just have power without scrutiny. And that's how democracies collapse. Not overnight, but piece by piece, law by law, until the people realise they've got no way out. They've got no one to hold accountable anymore. And that right there, well, makes me worried about what the future will hold. What's your thought?
Make accountability great again. Oh, Dave, you're mute.
There you go. Yeah, my thoughts are the same as yours, buddy. Yeah, it's exactly right. We're all well educated on what's going on out there. What are we going to do about it, and how are we going to do it, guys? That is the big $1 million question.
Now, I laughed way too much at this, and you need to too.
Very, very funny.
Oh, dear. Now, look, we're still on the subject of multiculturalism, but before we go there, have a look at this. Well done. I think it was Monica. She's Reignite Democracy, isn't she? So she's bought 700 flags, and people are hanging them up. And here's one here that somebody sent in. So good initiative.
Hey, Joel, can I have me refund? I'll buy some flags, mate. I'll even buy blue ones if you want. Anyway, I won't. I'll buy red ones.
All right. Well, red ones, yeah. Now, look, we're still in the multiculturalism thing now. The very good thing is that the narrative has shifted and people are actually discussing it now quite openly. You have this. It's not racist to question mass immigration's impact, and that's Matt Canavan. Australians are fed up, though, with politicians not delivering on promises. And then there's this little thing making the rounds again.
Destroys a society. And people assume that multiculturalism is a good thing because what it means is that you have to respect other cultures. Well, it doesn't mean that. We should all respect other cultures. Multiculturalism says something quite different. It says that no culture is morally superior or intellectually superior to any other culture. You can't say that Western core values are better than any other. As a result, you can't uphold things like democracy, one law for all, freedom of expression, equality for women. You can't uphold any of that. And that's the way our culture actually dies.
Mm-hmm. very true. Now, one of the things that's important to note, and I probably haven't said it enough, and somebody reminded me that I needed to talk about it, is it's not actually so much. It's what it is that we're defending here is the Western tradition. Now, Western tradition was made very powerful because it was built on Greek and Roman, and then when Christianity got a hold of it, it developed, and it gave us things like ability to have rights, individual rights. It gave us law, the rule of law, so that nobody is above anybody else, and that the law applies equally to everyone. It gave us things like education, and it was very good in the original things. It also gave us a style of thinking, so that we actually reason. We have an ability to reason, so we come to a conclusion about what is just, what is right, what is fair. So it's all of those things which combine together, which create a strong culture. So basing it on DNA, or it's just that predominantly white people have adopted that a Western tradition. So basing it on DNA is not accurate.
Well, I enjoy multicultural. This will rattle a few people, but I'll explain myself. I've absolutely loved multiculturalism in this country, guys, to an extent. All right, not mass immigration, but actual multiculturalism. I love going down the road and getting some burek. You know what I mean? I love going down the road and getting some Thai. You know what I mean? You know, I love the places in Chinatown and that. You know, I used to until I've had to eat healthy. But I mean, all this was part of our multiculturalism growing up, guys. You know what I mean? And that was a good thing. We enjoyed it. All we ever had was fucking fish and chips. I remember when the first Chinese store come to Australia, you know, more or less, or Wollongong, you know, yeah. So, you know, the multiculturalism is a good thing. What's happened here is just been gone over the top, and it's migration, and they've got everything, we've got nothing. You know what I mean? And it's just not right, you know. So, yeah, love a kebab, you know, I do.
And I'll tell you something else that's interesting. I went to find, you know how I found that government grants site for Indians, and I sent it to you, didn't I? $1 million grants.
Yeah.
So I can't find it anywhere anymore. And I don't know whether it's because we've been talking about it or what it is, but I couldn't find it. I went to look for it today. So it's very interesting. Now, Joel's done a bit of a report on what's going on with the Harbour Bridge.
Spoke to the protest organisers for the Harbour Bridge, and they're going to court. The cops don't want them to do the protest across the Harbour Bridge. So apparently you can protest for any other topic other than Australia and you'll get the bridge. It's fine.
It goes on. But look, here's the thing, is correct. It's just like, what do we do, you know?
I'm going to do a shout out here, Caz, to Pecky up there on the top of Cringilla Hill. All right. I've been told there's a better burek down in Warrawong. I haven't been there yet, but yeah, Cringilla is the best burek. I would agree with that. I've actually, you know, that's my downfall, guys. I'll let you know, burek. You want to win my heart? Turn up with some burek covered in chili, and I mean covered in chili and garlic. I mean chili that thick. Anyway, there you go. There's Guru's secret. He's a burek man.
All right, now this is some of the footage more footage is emerging of these of some really quite vile attacks from Melbourne. Let's have a look at this one.
Stop! Stop! You're not fucking
Someone will get him.
That way.
You're going to get hurt.
You're going to get hurt. I'll find them for you, okay?
Fuck off from our
No, the crowd is chanting Nazi scum after they're doing it, but it's pretty bad. Now, also, I have to give credit to Amanda Sheedy. She's actually uncovered this. Great detective work.
Mass immigration of non-Europeans at an unprecedented scale.
Look at this. Ready? Recruitment drive in the crowd. Enjoy. Oh, and it gets better. Hold on. Ready? He's holding it above his head now. And the best part is, in a couple of minutes' time, they've turned around because they've got a stack of them and they walk into the crowd yelling, "Who wants to join the NSN?"
Well, and Scotty's basically been under fire from them as well. So he's actually put out this today.
You thought the left could hate. You should see what the NSN can do. Holy cow. Because I wouldn't let them speak at the Brisbane rally, man, I've had these guys non-stop at me, like across all my different social media platforms for a few days now. It's been really fascinating to watch it unfold. But because I actually enjoy watching psychology, how people react, emotions, triggers, all the rest of it, I'm sitting here going, that's interesting, learn from that, pick up on this, educate myself, get better at that, adjust this talking point, think about it a little deeper. And so you guys are actually just helping me craft my message, which is really cool. I'm actually really, really grateful for you guys for doing that. I understand where you're at. You guys, you want to have a seat at the table. You don't have enough people to create your own political party. You tried to hijack all the other movements in every other city, but you couldn't get Brisbane because, well, let's face it, you're fucking with guys that are way better than you up here. And you weren't organised enough to be able to do it, and we held the ground, and we will continue to hold the ground. I'm not trying to pick a fight with you guys. I'm just saying that if you want to come on over and work with sensible people for a sensible solution and have an opportunity where you fit, then come around and talk about it. Because the way you are carrying on right now, like a pack of turkeys, you're going to get nowhere. You're not going to get anything, you're not going to achieve anything, and you're going to be lost forever. Now, I know lots of companies. I know lots of builders. I know lots of apprenticeship opportunities. I can help you guys get a job. I can help you guys get a trade. I can help you guys get a future. If you want to be a part of the solution instead of trying to fight the problem, then we would love to talk to you. Your enemy is the government. Your enemy is the government. It's not Antifa. It's not the pro-Palestinian guys. It's none of that shit. Your government is the problem. The blob, man. The blob created this situation. The blob is going to continue to use you guys like a bunch of useful idiots to try and push the division while they just keep pumping more people in here. And the more you guys carry on like you are, the more the government's just going to fucking call everybody a Nazi, and then nothing's going to change. So if you want an opportunity, come and talk. If you want to be considered a bunch of clowns, carry on like you are.
Oh, Dave, you're on mute again.
Sorry, that's because I got maniacs out here. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, well said, man. Well said.
Yeah, no, really well said. All right, let's bring on the flyers. Oh, do I have them? Yeah, there are.
And the Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. And on Mondays, don't forget Mondays at Maggie's, the Frank and Charles podcast. They will be hitting the streets this week. Mondays at Maggie's. And the Wollongong FUCCP parade will start on Sunday, September 7th at 8 a.m, leaving Helensburgh, parading through Thirroul, Bulli, Port Kembla, Shell Harbour, Dapto and finish at Stewart Park, Wollongong. There will be a barbecue from 1 p.m. with guest speakers. And there is a public protest rally, Stop E-Karen, no to digital ID, no biometric facial scanning, 1 p.m. on Saturday the 13th of September, Piermont Bay Park. And on Saturday, the 22nd of November, there is an Abolish Abortion Australia conference. This will be featuring T. Russell Hunter. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance. And the Freedom Unites Coast and Country Parades will now be held on September the 6th and 7th, which is a Saturday and Sunday. Jodie's inviting everyone to register their interest now. And a stand in the park, Albury Wodonga, are celebrating 5 years. So on Sunday, the 7th of September, they're hosting a barbecue. And the People's Revolution, MMAMV Australia, My Place Australia, and the Worldwide Freedom Rallies are hosting the Australia Unites Against the Government Corruption. Locations are to be announced, and it is on Saturday the 13th of September, nationwide, 12 p.m. We've lost confidence in our government. Let's stand up united and push back. And in Melbourne, as part of the Save Australia, on the 13th of September at 12 p.m. at Parliament House, there will be a mass protest. Albo must go, stop mass immigration and stop government corruption. And calling all flag bearers across the country, ready yourselves to march the 13th of September, where Australia says no. And Bendigo will be hosting a rally. Defend your CFA, your volunteers, defend your farmers and defend your Victorian community together. This will be at Warona Oval, Napier Street, Sunday the 14th of September at 11 a.m. And every day there is a daily prayer space held on X. It's at 3 p.m. Melissa 14623
A soapbox in the 1900s was free speech. Wouldn't it be great to go back, eh? The town crier.
Yeah. Look at this, though. There's something very interesting here. So this is somebody going through Canberra. So it's Australian Capital Territory, and the frequency for the broadcast area is 666 kilohertz.
Yeah. Didn't you know that?
No, I didn't. No,
See,
not
heaps of
until
times going into Canberra, yeah. It's just wrong, mate. It's just absolutely wrong. It's in our face. They're rubbing it in your face now, guys. Now, not only us people who are awake to most things, you know what I mean, but everybody now, they're just rubbing it in your face. The normies out there, everybody, you know. So it is time to wake up. And, you know, we got to use these rallies, guys, as a roll on. You know what I mean? It's exactly what we got to do. This is not about he said, she said. You can do all that in the background. Go for it. Do whatever you fucking want. Okay. But hey, stand up for Australia, right? And get out there for Australia. That's why you're going out to rallies and that, right? It's for Australia, right? It's not because of this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? And like I say, guys, you know, like, you know, do I agree with everything? No, I don't. You know what I mean? But, you know, this is bigger than us. Okay, it's bigger than anybody else. Okay, it is a combined effort by the Australian people, multicultural and all. Okay, to actually stand up. Okay, that's it.
Now, just the last bit of thing, we're going out early because Steve Carter has sent us a song and it's really good, and I wanted to play it for everyone on the way out. But John Adams has been doing awesome work with getting this videotape that was aired once on ABC 25 years ago.
Yep.
No, 1975. What's that? So that's
75.
75.
And now he's been stopped. He's been stopped using it or publicising it, Caz, or giving it to anyone. I saw.
Yeah. And Drew Pavlov actually, he had a look at it. Pedestry was a term that was featured. So it's actually really vile in itself. So, yeah, it's basically how they described it. They used it in terms of it's a homosexual relationship between a young boy and a man. They don't consider themselves pedophiles. They consider themselves in pedesters. So pedists. So it's very sick. I hope it all comes to the surface because we really need it.
Yeah, we do. We got to get it all out there, but that's what's happening now in America, guys. We know that's the roll on. You know what I mean? It's got to push off over there. And what we're seeing now is, you know, just the way Robert Kennedy's getting attacked and different things like that, guys. They are making ground over there. He is bringing them down. I've watched a couple of things in the courts later this afternoon. I've been working all day, but yeah, later this afternoon I saw a bit of stuff, and he is just kicking butt in there, man. Kicking butt.
And one of the other things too, that you know that they're in panic mode because they're actually taking a lot of anons are being taken out at the moment. So there's anons who have come forward. There's 2G ones. But then there's the original anons that used to run Telegram channels and things like that. And you've had like quite a lot of them have died in the last in a very short period of time. So it's very interesting what's going on.
We know what's going on. It's like the 7 in Parliament over in Germany. You know, we know exactly what's going on. They didn't just mysteriously die, guys, you know.
And Epstein Island victims as well.
Yep.
So
it's all happening. The deep state is out nailing people, nailing their own people as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they know they're going to talk. You know, it's on, guys. We got them in panic mode. The problem is when an animal's in panic, it's dangerous. And that's what these guys are. They're fucking dangerous, man. Really dangerous. But guess what? God's got your back. All right. Imagine a prayer session right around the country at one of these rallies. Just stop it at the same time. You know, and everyone just like we've seen overstairs, break into song and prayer. You know, you want to see the Lord move? That's how you watch the Lord move. So Australia, stand up for yourselves. Okay, let's do this. Good night, guys.
Steve Carter taking us out with words, guys.
What are they? They are vibrational sounds that come from our mouths. These sounds come from sound resonating vibrational letters. You know, A, B, C, D, E, and so on. The creators of our tongue, communication between humans. We get to choose which vibrational words come from our mouths. The sounds we put out resonate back to us and outwards to others. I do like to write and talk about peace and love frequency to make us feel well. Yet there is always something pondering in my heart. You see, 12 years ago my world was rocked. I reported a crime of significant murderous proportions to the police, to which I was educated the correct thing to do. This was always the normal thing to do, so I thought. The words that came out of my mouth were along the lines of, Mr. Officer, the third tower is a controlled demolition. We never heard of a third tower collapsing. What is going on? And looked at the officer. He looked blank. I repeat, he looked blank. Mr. No-Name Officer, I won't give his name just yet. Didn't know what I knew at that particular time. For when I saw this building 7, which comprised of 47 stories, collapse straight to the ground, the roof kinked, the windows in a spiral pattern blew out, and there was no resistance. Straight to the ground. Yes, straight to the ground. As I said, the officer didn't see what I saw. I instantly thought, in my brain we had just seen a full controlled demolition. I don't think this, I know this. My brain, you know, Stephen's brain thought controlled demolitions take weeks or months to pre-rig. Everyone has different thoughts and different karmas. My report to the police of New South Wales Police Force back in the year 2013 fell on deaf ears. So my words to you today are very important. I waited for a response to which was all recorded on my work video surveillance. The stunned officer did nothing. He was busy occupied with something else. I said, our young troops are going to fake wars, officer. Those buildings that came down on 9/11 seem to have been blown up. You know, controlled demolition. The officer left as he was in his personal car and seemed to be going to the beach for a paddle as he usually did. So my words of letter vibrational frequency today are of somewhat significant importance. A few months passed and I showed the same engineer and architect controlled demolition video to another officer. He clearly saw the 3 massive tower buildings collapse by demolition with me in my home office. This officer was a very high senior police officer from the New South Wales Police at the time of year 2001. In New York in the year 2001, many of us awoke to our television's horror show. It was like a movie set. On television, every single channel, including the real government ABC news show, was showing the world the American Twin Towers in New York were under attack from aeroplanes and that they have collapsed to the ground. This was unbelievable. It was unfucking believable. It was sickening to the core. Lives lost. So many lives lost. Yet it was all fake. Words matter in life. When I say fake, I mean yes, the building collapsed, that was real. But a story of some foreign pilot crashing and dropping those humongous buildings is a complete lie. It was a controlled demolition. 100%. All 3 buildings were pre-rigged with explosives. So hopefully my words awaken you from your sleepy dream. Some people know the truth. Some stay quiet. Some speak out. My words are your words. I suggest we all bind together as one to stop all wars. It's very easy, you will see. My heart goes out to everyone awakening to the truth. It's horrific, yet we can find a way to escape the matrix of poison, the matrix of sufferance. There's an even world out there that we have yet to achieve. Our body have a yoga and Tai Chi connection within all. When the two become one, our hearts all fill with love. For it is the inner path that we all must achieve. Shifting energy to heart connection takes us to nirvana. Inner peace is our goal for all.